see so many bright and shining faces. To all the friends, family, the exceptional teachers, a special thank you to you for being here and for shaping these students' experience. All of us are excited for the future as you students graduate in the Henry Ford College class of 2018. Many of you are going on to become business people, technicians, chefs, health practitioners, continuing scholars, and other highly regarded industry professionals in your communities. And you should be incredibly proud for your accomplishments. No matter what your profession, I encourage each of you to continue to label yourself a lifelong learner, as learning in life does not stop here today. You have an incredible opportunity ahead. Just by growing up and spending time in America, successfully graduating from at least 2 years of higher education places you ahead academically than more than 90% of the world. Just think about that for a second. And to whom much is given, much is expected. It's a popular quote that can also be seen just outside the Detroit Red Wings locker room before players take the ice. Now, many great leaders did not set out with the goal of being great. Those I see as successful, they found their passion, their thirst for life. And that is hopefully my major takeaway for you in the short time we have today together. A thirst for life. I'll walk you through 4 key skills that have helped me and many others find and develop a passion and thirst for life. Now, before I reveal these key secrets, a quick background about myself. The number one question that I'm asked is, hey Nick, why don't you work with your family? So, in 1959, my grandparents, Mike and Marion Illich, both children of Macedonian immigrants, opened up a pizza store named Little Caesars Pizza Treat, exactly 7 miles from us here today, in Garden City, Michigan. And through their hard work, their exceptional team building skills, careful decisions, and a lot of luck along the way, they've expanded Little Caesars Pizza into the 3rd largest pizza franchise in the world. In 1982, they purchased the Detroit Red Wings, slowly building them to Stanley Cup championship organization, winning cups in 97, 98, 2002, and 2008. In 1992, they went on to purchase the Detroit Tigers, a team that my grandfather played baseball with in their farm system, growing up for 3 years after playing baseball in the Marines. Last year, the Red Wings and the Pistons celebrated their inaugural season at Little Caesars Arena, fulfilling a hope and vision that my grandparents had, making a strong Detroit sports and entertainment district that'll bring millions of people downtown to eat, shop, spend time with family, and celebrate for many years to come. So early in my career, I had worked in a few roles within my family business and decided that I wanted to try to craft my own course in life. I found that for me, learning how to program at the age of 12, that business technology, and more specifically, computer programming, creating new applications and platforms, and bringing teams together in the digital world was something I was passionate about and I was curious to learn more. So in 2008, shortly after graduating Northwood University in Midland, Michigan, I took a job as an entry-level network engineer at a company called Secure 24. I was part of the original group of 30 employees, and we've grown the business now to one of the largest Michigan-based tech firms with over 650 of the world's top technologists. Secure 24 has ranked in the top 100 best places to work by Computer World, and ranked #1 in training for the past 2 years. So hint, hint, if you're IT savvy, we're hiring. So we've actually hired, as President Sikowski said, over 25 of our skilled IT engineers right here from Henry Ford College, and are closely integrated with the IT program, including participating in their advisory and computer network security competitions each year. So personally, I've never stopped learning on the job and asking many questions, reading and studying how people operate. I was recently brought onto the executive leadership team at Secure24 and helped as part of the group that led the acquisition of Secure24 into NTT, one of Japan's largest companies. We now operate in a network of over 230,000 employees worldwide and are opening up tremendous opportunities for my coworkers to grow in their specialties and travel the globe. Okay, enough about me. Today is about you. It's about you and your accomplishments. Now, I'd like to share some of these ideas to continue in your success ahead. So here's some lessons that have helped both me and my family experience success. I call it a thirst for life, L-I-F-E. The first lesson in life starts with the letter L, and that is to learn. Learning is like breathing. It keeps us alive. Personally, I attempt to learn and share what I've learned in every situation, in every interaction. My parents and grandparents' #1 emphasis every year was, how are you doing in school? We would share report cards and surely get a lot of attention over the holidays for any of the A's that we would get. Learning for you does not stop here today. The world's most successful and brilliant people commit themselves daily, as Gerald Ford was saying, to continued formal education, but also through other mediums, through mentoring, continued daily reading of books, blogs, podcasts, TED Talks, traveling, writing, and asking good questions with top practitioners in your field. The thirst to learn is a key facet in life, and my hope for you is more than any of these skills, you continue in your journey of learning through formal and everyday learning opportunities ahead. So that's the L in life, a lifelong learning. Number 2 is the thirst to innovate, the I in life. Now, Henry Ford was clearly a world-changing, future-driven innovator, innovating through automobile design, manufacturing processes, and business models. And innovation can happen in many ways and at many different levels. Innovation can be revolutionary. Things like the iPhone, Uber, Airbnb, or simply more taking concepts that you've learned along the way in your own circumstances and integrating them at a bit smaller scale. Here's some personal experience, an example of that. In school, I had learned about how companies like 3M, Ford, and Motorola took a lot of paper-based processes, digitized them to add speed and efficiency, as well as quality. And after learning this in a weekend course, I was fascinated and I wanted to try something similar in my own work. So I went in on Monday morning and started a project of digitizing our sales process at Secure24. This was previously reliant on a very slow, paper-based, archaic process. And with the help of many others, the project yielded significant increase in sales, customers were happier, while it gave my coworkers a lot less headaches from dealing with the archaic process. So part of creativity and innovating is taking lessons that you've learned and actually applying them in your own unique ways. Step 1 is coming up with the innovative idea. And step 2, as you know, which is usually more important, is follow through and actually doing it. Now think back to the top 5 lessons that you've learned over the past few years. How can you apply them going forward? Anyone going on to become an accountant? Any accountants? Well, there's a popular joke. They say that creative accountants, you shouldn't do that, you'll end up in jail. But I do think that actually, no matter the profession, accountants even can be creative in the sense of how they get their work done, the systems, the processes, creating new platforms to speak and analyze the powerful language of business. So 1 is learn, 2, take what you've learned and apply it in your own unique ways through innovation. And the 3rd is focus. the thirst to black out noise in life and truly focus. In a world where screen time and push notifications threaten to interrupt us every hour of every day, we all must set aside the time to master the skills required to be successful. And focus on the fundamentals. It's no surprise that even in Major League Baseball practices, players are required to field ground balls over and over again. They perfect the little things, and you would never see a player in the dugout on their phone. You also would never see strong leaders in business meetings staring down at their phone either. They're focused at the task at hand. Things you're passionate about, you will sacrifice the time to learn and cultivate and master the attention to detail through focus. And lastly, the thirst to endure. So one thing is inevitable. We will all have setbacks, challenges, situations that often seem like there's no way out. The power to endure and persevere through adversity is key. I learned this with my brother and sister, who I grew up closer to than anyone, through a parents' divorce and uprooting several times across the country. We came from a hockey family, so travel hockey, and people had always told me, hey Nick, you can't be a runner, it's bad for your knees, you're never gonna run, Nick. Every time I heard that, I wanted to run. So, I vividly remember races around the house growing up. We would videotape them with my brother and sister. Now, my best example of endurance comes from a tragic life experience. It was a time in life where I was living unintentionally, trying to handle life on my own with nobody's help, and disconnected from my family. In 2003, my brother Mike was passenger in his friend's new car, and speeding down the subdivision, they crashed into a tree going over 60 miles per hour. It took over 2 hours for him to get out of the car using the jaws of life. And when he awoke, he was in a coma for 2 weeks and unable to move. The next time I saw my brother was in the hospital, and life had changed forever. Slowly and slowly, weeks and months had passed. Mike started gaining movement and momentum in his fingers and his hands, was eventually able to stand and walk again using a walker years later, and recently now just a cane to balance. Mike never complained once. I'm encouraged daily through Mike's endurance. This really was a very challenging time for me and my whole family, an eye-opener into how fragile life is, and really how fortunate we are to be given such limited time while here on earth. So years later, Mike suggested that I volunteer to run in a group of 1,000 runners in the Detroit Marathon to raise money for people in Kenya so they could get access to clean drinking water. Without having even ran as much as a 5K before, viciously accepted. Only if my sister would too. So we discovered hand cycling and suggested to Mike to try it out. It was his first sport in over 9 years. And in October 2013, after a ton of weekly training, perseverance, Mike, Christina, and I successfully finished our 26.2 mile marathon together. And even more exciting than finishing a marathon, we hit our fundraising goals and raised over $1 million to build clean water wells in Kenya with a larger fundraising group. So endurance is absolutely key. As you face challenges, it's what helps keep you going, especially as you find causes greater than yourself to work towards. So the thirst of life, the thirst for life, to learn, innovate, focus, and endure. Today is a big day, and you may be excited and proud, maybe a bit nervous and relieved, but full of hope and new ideas. As you reflect on your education here at Henry Ford College, all the classes, all the quizzes, all the 10 years of lectures, that your teachers have been so kind and have poured their time, their talent, and their love for you to grow. so that you can take the next step in your life and in your career and truly give life your best shot. I ask, in your own life, what motivates you? Now, I challenge you, as maybe a last homework assignment, as you lay quietly awake at night, I encourage you to think about and either start or add to a list by your bedside as you go to sleep. And write down, what are some of the notes that you're passionate about? What skills are most important for you to develop? What is your own thirst for life? I thank you for this opportunity on this exciting day. Congratulations on your accomplishments. I hope this for you every day. May you wake up and find your own thirst for life. Congratulations.